Hey guys, how are y'all doing? I'm sitting in the car. It is about to turn down out here and get real sleepy-eyed. But today we are going to talk about how I flew around Asia on a one-way ticket. And I'm doing this video because there was a guy in one of my other videos that commented, said that I was giving false information and I was lying, and I had to let him know, baby, I'm not lying. I don't have anything to lie about. Okay, I want you to watch this video so I can explain to you how I flew everywhere around Asia on a one-way flight. Okay? So, when I booked to go to Thailand, to Bangkok, I wasn't sure how long I was going to be there. I think in one of my other videos, I explained why I stayed at a hotel versus blah, 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 blah. I booked a one-way flight from Birmingham, Alabama to Bangkok. When I got there, when I went through customs, they asked me if I had a round trip, and I told them no. I'm going to say I'm just staying on the safe side. I don't remember them asking me, but I'm going to say that they asked me how long I was going to be there. They asked me if I had somewhere to stay while I was flying. I told them vacation, leisure, whatever, and then I showed them my hotel. At that time, my hotel was only booked for a week. Guys, they let me through. So I understand other people saying that you got to have a round trip because they want to know when you're leaving. That wasn't the case for me. They asked me, or I'm going to say that they asked me because I don't remember. But what I do know is that I had to show them my hotel, which is only booked for a week. Now, when I got there, by day 3, I said, okay, I like it, so I'll get another place, which is what I did. I went from the downtown hotel to I think another hotel, and I think I stayed there, I'm going to say 7 days. When I was there at the second hotel, I then booked for Phuket, because at that point I knew my friend was coming in. So we booked for no, I'm wrong, guys. When I went to the other hotel, when she was coming, I went and booked an Airbnb that had a 2-bedroom for when she got there. When she got there, we sat there together and we booked our flight to Phuket. She had already had a round trip coming from Nashville to Bangkok to Nashville, but she needed to book that Phuket one, and she knew when we flew back from Phuket, she would be flying back to Bangkok. When I booked my flight to Phuket, I booked a one-way. I booked the one-way because, guys, I didn't know if I wanted to go back to Bangkok or if I wanted to go ahead and stay on the itinerary that I made, which said I would go to another country. While I was in Phuket, I decided I was going to fly to Malaysia. So while I was in Phuket, I purchased my flight to Malaysia. It was a one-way. When I got to Malaysia, the only thing I had to fill out that was new was the Malaysia immigration card, which I can do a video about that. But it was just letting them know you was coming or whatever. I don't know, but I had a one-way. When I got through customs, and if I'm not mistaken, was it Malaysia? No, I probably was Bali. Okay, whatever. Either way, it was a one-way. Okay, sir, it was a one-way. When I got to Malaysia and got through customs, they asked me where I was staying. I booked a place while I was in Phuket for Malaysia. Boom, showed them this is where I'm going to be staying in Malaysia. Okay, and remember, I hated it, guys. Yeah, that was a one-way. I don't even remember them asking me how long I was going to be in Malaysia or if about a round trip or nothing. None of that. Got through Malaysia. Boom. While I was in Malaysia, if you guys remember, I made a video saying I hate this place. And I remember telling y'all that I needed to book a flight out of to Bali. When I got to Malaysia, I could not figure out how to book my flight to Bali. For some reason, it was rejecting my credit card. And I made a video of me going to the airport in Malaysia and had them manually booked me a flight to Bali. See, sir, one way again. They booked me a one-way flight to Bali. Why? Because at that time, I didn't know if I wanted to go back to Bangkok or what, or go to Vietnam. When I got to Bali, I couldn't figure out where I wanted to go. Then I said, okay, well, I'll go to Vietnam. I made a video that said, I'm going to Vietnam. Oh, but wait, I don't have the visa. Hopefully I can get me a visa. I did book a one-way flight from Bali to Vietnam. Now, I couldn't get my visa. So while I was on the beach, the dad was supposed to fly out for Vietnam. I said, you know what? I ain't got time for this. And I booked a one-way flight back to Bangkok. See, because now I'm starting to sound angry because you did call me a liar. And I don't really like that. I don't have to lie, sir. Okay? So I booked a one-way. I booked my flight to Vietnam, which was a waste of money because I never got the visa. Did not fly to Vietnam. Instead, I extended my stay in Bali. When I made a video while I was at the resort on the beach. I booked it one way back to Bangkok. When I got to Bangkok, I had a one-way. Did they ask me? Yes. What's going on? I told them I did not know, because at that time I knew I wanted to go to Tokyo, but I didn't know how long I was going to stay in Bangkok. So I booked a one-way flight to Bangkok. Now, I stayed in Bangkok for 3 weeks. Remember, I made a video and said, I'm glad I came back here, because had I not come back here, I wouldn't have realized I don't even really like it here in Bangkok, okay? So, while I was in Bangkok, I booked a one-way flight to Tokyo. Now, what I will say is that in order to book your flight to Tokyo, you have to have at least a place where you're going to stay. You have to put that information in, what hotel or what Airbnb, you got to put an address in. So that part, okay. So I did end up booking a flight one way to Tokyo, and then no, I'm lying. Okay, I booked my flight to Tokyo, and with the flight to Tokyo, when I filled out the information to get to Tokyo, like their little immigration stuff, I had to put down a return flight information in order to get it through. So while I was in Bangkok, I booked my flight to Tokyo and then to Birmingham, because I needed the information from Birmingham to get the flight for Tokyo. So, sir, get your facts straight, okay? I never needed us to explain to Bangkok, Phuket, Malaysia, or Bali where I was going, when I was coming. I don't even remember them folks asking me that. So don't tell me I'm lying, because that's my experience is my experience. Okay. The only time I had to have a return, or at least another flight flying out of somewhere, was Tokyo. So I did while I was in Bangkok with my flight to Tokyo, as well as Birmingham. So yes, that's how I flew around Asia on a one way. You don't have to necessarily have a arrival and departure day, because I did not have a departure day. Again, I didn't know how long I was going to stay in each country. I didn't know if I was going to like it. I didn't know what was going to be. So I wanted to be able to gauge while I was there how long I was going to be in each country. And as you see, Vietnam, I never even made it there. Malaysia and Bali, I cut them trips short and went back to Bangkok. So there's no lies told, okay, guys? If you guys have any questions about each country and going through the immigration and what is it called? Customs, let me know. And by the way, if y'all remember, I carry that mace in my carry-on through each country. So I don't know, they need to do better with that, because how did I get mace on my carry-on for each country? Forget a return flight, you about to mace everybody on the plane, right? Okay, so yes, if y'all have any questions, please drop down in the comments and ask your questions and comments, and let me know if you had to book return flights. I didn't. I don't know what to tell you. I didn't have to do it. So I will talk to you guys later. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Bye.